Pretty Little Liars, the television series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes of Pretty Little Liars for you.
Welcome to 2024.
Oh, yeah. It's New Year's Eve when we record this.
Yes.
So we haven't made it to 2024 yet. We have every intention of doing it, so.
Ominous.
You don't know what tomorrow brings.
I do not. But hopefully you all are having a great start to the year.
Yeah, I hope this year is good for you. I hope last year was good for you, but I know from personal accounts and other people in my life that 2023 may not have been the year we wanted it to be, much like 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and so on and so forth. So maybe 2024 is going to be it for you.
That's right.
And us, all of us.
Absolutely. And I will, on a personal level, it was
It was not bad.
Not at all.
It's not our worst year.
No.
We've had worse years.
We have definitely had worse years. I feel like 2023 was us getting... you've said this before too, so this is not an original thought of us like getting on a routine and figuring out like
what works for us.
Exactly.
Yeah, finding our way back to like we've grown and we've changed a lot. So like, what does normal look like?
Mm-hmm.
What's our new normal?
Exactly. What's our routines? What's how do we want to set up our schedule? Like
exactly.
So
look at us.
Cheers.
Yeah. Hope yours is equally as successful, if not more so. You know what? I hope everyone had a more successful year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got one last piece of baggage to bring with us from 2023. Would you like to hear about the final reading recap? I finished PLL Book 4.
I'm so glad we're leaving this behind us.
Sarah
Shepard, I'm so sorry. Like, you gave us such a beautiful thing with this show and all of that fun, but like, those books were not it for me. I mean, which makes sense. I am a 30-year-old adult and they are for teens.
Exactly.
And maybe if I had read this at the time,
you'd feel different.
I'd feel different. I don't know, though. I was a pick-me. I was reading my Hemingway and, I was reading the classics in high school. So that then now as an adult, I can read romantasy and be like, oh, I remember when I used to be a snob and now I just want to read fairy smut.
Right. Yeah, and this was right when these were coming out when we were in high school, very tail end of middle school. So then, yeah.
Now I'm in my Teen Wolf era, I guess.
That's right.
I've never seen Teen Wolf. I don't actually
like
know. I don't know what it's about, but
I haven't either. I mean, all I know is the Michael J. Fox movie. I never saw it, but in that he's
are they werewolves?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
like Jacob, kind of like Twilight, where they can shift whenever they want, or like full moon werewolves.
I don't know about the TV show. But I know the movie is like comedy hijinks, like I'm a teen that got bit by a werewolf and oh no, now I turn into a werewolf on the full moon. And like, how do I handle high school is the vibe I get from it. I have not seen this movie. He dunks. I know that's a part of it.
Well.
But on to the book, you probably would have enjoyed this one the most because the back... let's say 100 pages. It's also the longest. But the back 100 pages is the like all the like unraveling around like Mona's A stuff. Now you would have been like, good God, like the first 200 of these pages are the same as usual.
Okay.
Hannah, amnesia. Doesn't remember Lucas, so like being in love with Lucas or what Mona did to her. So it's just the entire time of like her being like, Mona's my best friend, but why do my heart race around Lucas? And it's just like, good God, like let's wrap this up. Spencer is still going through all that Golden Orchid stuff, so you're like, good God, can we wrap this up? And is now like Melissa actually killed, and even killed Allison, even though Ian's right there. So you're just like, oh, come on, let's wrap this up. Arya is like at least kind of interesting because she has nowhere else to go, so has to live with her dad and Meredith.
Oh my God.
And so it's like finding like some new normal, and it's still like Arya of the books of like, I'm just gonna do the most girl on girl hate crimes imaginable because I hate this woman. And gets a text from A that is just like, she works at Hooters, and is just like, we're gonna brings Mike, and it's just like, we're gonna go to Hooters and we're gonna out her. And Mike's like, why are we doing this? But in this, the Hooters is next to the police station, so all the cops go there. So then she tells Mike about A there, and then Mike's like, well, you need to go to the cops. More on this in a sec. Emily goes through a sitcom where she gets sent to Iowa. She immediately comes back pretty much. But while she's there, meets a blonde girl who's interested in her. So then comes back, and like her parents try and like be like, oh, we're like cool with you now. Like we were scared when you ran away. So we know that like, we want to make you feel comfortable here. And then is also like, I don't know if I really like Maya. I like this blonde girl. So that has this like, then the blonde girl is like, I'm going to show up in Rosewood. So then has this, because there's a party, as in every book, the Hannah's party that Mona put together. Mona and Spencer put together. That's the other piece, is like Mona and Spencer start getting along really well in this.
Uh-huh.
And then so then Emily has this like classic sitcom thing of like, I have 2 dates at the thing.
Oh my God.
And then Maya gets pissed at her, and then she runs to go find Maya, and then finds the blonde girl hooking up with Noel, and the blonde girl kind of looks at her just like, you weren't around. Hats off to Trista. Emily has some, mean thoughts about her, but, it's all good. So the big kind of discrepancy, like big, like I think interesting things like happen toward the end of the book, because it's fairly similar to the end of season 2. Spencer and Mona end up in a car together.
Okay.
But this is like, Mona is going to take Spencer to go to the police station to rat on Melissa. Hannah then remembers with the rest of the friends. It's like, oh, that was Mona's phone that texted me. So they try and text Spencer, and then Mona sees it, and it's just like, ha ha, I'm going to go off path. And so it's just like, oh, like, and so Mona's reasoning is like fairly similar to like the season 2, where it's just like, I hated all you. And, I have my feelings known on that one. It was just kind of like a shrug.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other friends, they go to Wilden.
Okay.
And then like he like rallies all the cops to like go like try and like track down Mona. So it's like, it's very funny, because the show is very much like, no, the cops are all on the take. Like they're all corrupt as well. But in the books, it's just like, no, you actually probably should have gone to the cops to begin with, and this would have been solved.
Yeah.
Because
the ACAB is strong in the show.
But in the series, it's like Arya goes to the cops, and they're like, okay, like let's figure it out. Send us like details on this so we can like track it. And so Mona and Spencer fight like over a quarry, because that's where she drives her. And Mona drives her there and tries to choke her to kill her. And then they both go tumbling over the side, but like Spencer lands on like some soft grass, and Mona dies.
Right?
Yeah, she breaks her neck.
Wild.
Absolutely wild.
Wild. Bonkers.
But it's funny because Mona gets caught because she uses the wrong phone. Like she literally just has 2 phones. So it's like so like low tech. And it's still much more, I think probably like Sarah Shepard's original intention of like, this is like teen bullying, and like parents aren't like listening, and the adults in their lives aren't like helping these kids.
Teens feel very alone in this issue is kind of like what you get from that.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Because it's like their parents don't get it, and they're so wrapped up in their own lives.
Yeah. But then the end is all the parents, it kind of like ends up that everybody has like a little happy ending at the end of this book of like, oh, Arya's mom calls, and it's just like, if you had only told me what was going on, I would have understood what was happening, and like I apologize.
Okay, Ella.
Right? It's like, I apologize for being like for outing you. I was just kicking you out of the house. You can come back and live. And then Arya's like, well, maybe I can like sometimes live with my dad and Meredith if they make up the room for me, and we can all be happy. And it's like, okay. And then Ashley is like, I'm leaving town for Singapore, but like your dad and his new wife and Kate are gonna move here if you want to live with them. And Hannah's like, that sounds good to me.
Good God.
Emily doesn't get a coda. She gets nothing. She doesn't get any resolution like the rest of them do. And then Spencer sees that Melissa went to the cops afterwards and was like, you know what? I was standing up for Ian and like covering for him. And I don't know, we were actually drinking that night, so, and I passed out, and then I know he left and then came back. So then Ian gets arrested, but we don't know if he actually killed Allison. You know, he gets arrested at least. And so then Spencer's like, you know what? I need to tell the truth to the Golden Orchids. So it's just like kind of this.
Why?
Yeah. So it's just kind of like this happy ending, like that. Well, you probably should have just kids tell the adults in your life what's going on, and they'll understand. And the show is not at all like that.
Except that the whole book they wouldn't have. You know, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So it's funny. It's a very funny ending. Yeah. It you know. He whiz, but it's very funny. Oh, actually, the biggest change that like blew my mind was Arya and Jenna have that art class together, like in the show, where Arya is pretending to be someone else, and it doesn't happen. It's not as like drawn out. But then Arya and Jenna have a heart to heart, and Jenna's like, "No, I told Allison to set off fireworks when Toby was in the treehouse, because then he would have gotten in trouble with my parents and he would have gotten sent away. And so even though it went wrong, it still got him sent away." So like Jenna is somehow also complicit in her blinding and removes any of the guilt on any of the other friends.
Someone else was there?
Oh yeah, Mona was outside.
Mona was the person outside.
Yeah, And Mona's like, I saw what happened, and she was friends with Jenna. But when she went to like be like, hey Jenna, we should go like tell that it was Allison, Jenna then is like, we're not speaking of this ever again, and they stop being friends.
Oh.
Yeah. So then Mona's like, what the fuck? I want Allison to go down.
They weren't all wearing their Lady G outfits?
No, there's no description of any Lady G in this. Although there's tons, because of Hannah's party, there's lots of references to contemporary music that I'm like, I wonder what the original version was. Because it's like there's a Post Malone song. Also, because it goes through different POVs, twice it happens that they look around the party and see Mike with a girl from the Quaker school. It's mentioned twice.
Oh, Michelangelo.
You
know what I think is funny on the show? We learned in this one. His name is Michael in the show. It's not Michelangelo.
Cowards.
Because when they show his name signing in to visit Allie.
Right, it says Michael Montgomery.
Michael Montgomery.
That's great. I didn't even notice that.
When he writes his name in cursive, I think.
It would have been so good if it said Michelangelo Montgomery.
I'm almost positive. Don't. If someone else screenshot that.
Oh, and then the other thing is Hannah had gotten Mona's phone because she found it outside of the car. That was the A phone. And then just deletes all the texts and hands it over to the police. It's like, wow, it didn't quite work out, but
yeah, Michael Scott Montgomery.
Michael Scott.
That's what the fandom page said.
That's so funny. He's very office core. Oh, and then it seemed there's this part there with the party where you can tell that Mona's trying to get Spencer to just go with her alone to the police station. And she's like, Hannah, you need to stay here. I got Justin Timberlake to come and like perform for you. And like, I was like, bullshit. Like, this is all part of the thing to get Spencer alone. Apparently he did actually come.
Oh my God.
I thought that was so funny.
That is really funny.
There you go. That's what you need to know.
Yeah. Well, we'll stick to the show.
Yeah. Shall we hop into it then?
Yeah.
All right. More from my notes here. Season 5, episode 17, episode 112, The Bin of Sin. I like that title. Works out nicely.
Who's in the Bin of Sin?
We don't know. Toby won't tell us. Toby just tumbling down. If Mona fell off a cliff, Toby sure did too.
Well, he's already dead in the books.
Oh, right. That's true.
Stopped him before he could become a cop.
Mm-hmm.
He went from Boo Radley to cop so quickly.
I know. It's horrible.
Like, they were like, everyone's afraid of him and crosses the street. And then it's like, oh.
Now he's a member of the police force.
Now he's a cop. I liked Carpenter Toby.
I did too.
Just like Jesus.
Exactly. We also celebrate Toby's birthday. Yeah. I just remember when there were literal kids screaming.
When Toby walked down the street. And now he saves the town from Abandoned bikes.
No, he just gives parking tickets.
Off-leash dogs.
Hannah and Caleb catch the other three up on the barrel, and Hannah's name being on the storage unit lease. It was rented 4 months ago, the day before Mona's murder. Hannah thinks that her prints must have been on the knife they found as well, that Caleb and Spencer melted down. Hannah's only alibi on Thanksgiving, though, is Caleb, so she's worried what the police will think. Caleb is planning to corrupt the data files so Hannah's name isn't attached to the storage unit, and they think that Holbrook must be behind this on behalf of Allison. Hannah storms off without a lack of a concrete plan to not get her arrested and, tried for this. Arya tells Emily how guilty she feels about the admissions letter that she wrote and needs to go find Fitz to tell him. Emily sees that Talia made a pecan pie for Fitz. She's like, he's not available. And Talia's like, it was just a thank you, but sorry to step on your turf. And Emily's like, no, not mine. I'm a lesbian, but he's going out with my friend. Hannah looks up rubber gloves on her laptop. Ashley comes in after calling Ted. She didn't tell him about Jason and decided she's not going to. Hannah says she needs to tell him, and Ashley says, forget it ever happened, as dramatic irony calls on the phone, and it's Jason. Toby reviews files on Mona and Allison at the police station. Spencer comes to talk about Hannah, and he's like, you and Caleb better stop what you were doing last night. And Spencer says, I need your help to, stop Hannah from doing something stupid. Tanner then comes up, and Spencer's like, I'm just here on my lunch. I better go. Toby and Tanner then discuss Allison's case, and he thinks someone manipulated Allie's polygraph test, and Tanner's like, someone would have to have actually been there to do that. Tanner then warns him from making accusations toward Holbrook, which Toby does. Toby says people saw him kissing Allison, and his dad's not even sick. And Tanner's like, well, you better back off, and I'm assuming those people you're talking about is your high school girlfriend, and so back off coming after my partner or you're out of a job. Arya visits Fitz and comes clean on the admission letter. He reads it and he's like, I'm not angry. This is a brilliant move. And Arya still feels guilty and is like, I'm just worried about being stuck here. And he's like, you don't have to worry, while they hug, and he stares at the letter. Anna unpacks her covering up crime stuff as Caleb comes over. He corrupted all the files related to the release, and she shows him all the rubber gloves and things. He's resistant to helping her move the barrel, but she has a foolproof plan with all the materials and tells him she has no choice but to do this. And he's like, well, you forgot about erasing the cameras. Ashley and Jason meet for lunch. She's quitting and he doesn't want her to. She tells him about seeing someone else, and he begrudgingly understands her position. Caleb and Hannah break into the storage unit. He cuts the cameras, and they go to the unit and break the lock. Arya and Emily discuss coming clean to Fitz, and Arya's relieved and now can worry about other more important things. Spencer drives up out of nowhere. You never get this in the show. Spencer literally just drives up as they're walking down the street and is like, Mona's laptop is moving and Hannah's taking it. We gotta go. And Emily and Arya load up in the car. Ashley's picking up her things at the office as Jason comes in. He's like, sorry, I should probably go. And then as they talk, he notices that she doesn't have a ring on, and she's like, well, I haven't given an answer to the engagement yet, or proposal. Jason asks if their hookup happened so she could sabotage her own relationship. He's like, I've done things like that before. I wouldn't feel bad. And she's like, no, it wasn't that. Fitz reads Arya's letter alone, sadly. Arya, Emily, and Spencer close it. Yeah, that's my note for that scene. He's just like, Well, actually, this is the scene where where is this at? And then you're like, this is the back room of the brew.
Yeah, that's obviously his office and the storage room. I only know that because when you work in food long enough, you realize that they keep the condiments where they keep the payroll in most places because they don't have enough rooms.
Mm-mm.
I had a break room that was a storeroom at my first job, which was annoying as hell because you'd be on break and people would come in and get shit and interrupt you. And you're like,
Cool.
I just wanted to sit here.
Or hey, can you help me? That sort of thing.
Oh, no one ever asked me to help.
Oh, okay.
I was a
You just wanted to be
small
alone.
girl and worked there longer.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, I'm sure someone maybe asked, if there was an emergency, they'd come get me, but
right.
it was
but
more
it wasn't
just
constant interruption.
interrupt. Yeah. This is my uninterrupted break.
Right. And I don't smoke, so I'm not going outside.
Exactly. It's cold.
Mm-hmm. Arya, Emily, and Spencer close in on the laptop. Hannah and Caleb open the storage unit at the same time and find everything gone except the barrel. Caleb wants to open it, and Hannah is worried about what's inside. Emily, Spencer, and Arya are searching an abandoned ice cream factory where the GPS led them. They hear rustling and find they've lost service. They make the smart decision to split up.
Every time.
Every time. It's just gotten worse and worse.
My favorite is too, like, there's a scene later when Arya is on the bridge to Mike and she's wearing heels. Like, you can just hear, or you can hear her shoes. So I assume she's wearing heels. You're like, you'd think these girls would start wearing like Nikes and like just be ready to run. But
Absolutely.
they're like, we're going to look damn good.
Right.
In the face of danger.
Listen.
I mean, I guess we still wear them to the club. So what's the difference?
If we're gonna. Right, exactly. If we're
the
gonna
kids
get.
nowadays just wear sneakers. They just wear sneakers.
Really? Wow.
We weren't allowed to wear sneakers. They wouldn't let you in.
Yeah.
You wore sneakers to the clubs and they were like, all right, that's not nice enough.
See you, girls.
Yep.
Damn. Well, I'm glad.
I mean, I never tried, but that was always the dress code was we won't let you in.
Right. That's a big win.
Yeah. Comfy feet.
Way to go. Making change in the world.
That's why we always went to dive bars. It was only once you got older. No, because you never had to wear heels to a dive bar.
Oh. Like we're going to dive bars.
Imagine.
Blacking out is making a change. Hannah and Caleb go to leave and run into Tanner and Toby. They say they're here to rent a storage unit, and Tanner asks if Toby knew that Caleb was looking to rent a unit, and Toby's like, no. Hannah says she has to pee, and Tanner's like, oh, well, I'll let you go to the bathroom. Toby asks Tanner if they need to wait for the manager to show up to show the search warrant, and then they find the cameras cut. Spencer hears voices and goes to look. Emily hears noises behind a curtain and then scares a cat, and like a dead rat falls out, and a box of almonds does too. Toby and Tanner open up the storage unit to just find the barrel. Spencer sees a laptop playing a video of Caleb and Hannah talking about their plan to dispose of the evidence. So this is the scene we saw earlier. Someone was recording that. And it's inside an old freezer with a large door. Arya comes over and Spencer pulls her in to show the video. As we all scream, please move the laptop out of there. Spencer hears someone coming and goes silently to grab the wrench that's holding the door open as a hooded figure comes up and grabs it before her and shuts them in and turns on the machine. Liquid nitrogen starts blowing in as they start to freeze. Emily rounds the corner and takes the wrench and breaks the electrical box to try and shut down the machine. Arya and Spencer continue to freeze, though, so then she whacks a steam valve with the wrench to release the pressure and then opens the door. Toby and Tanner open the barrel. Smell comes out, and Tanner lies and says, I don't know what that smell is. Hey, can you go call for a hazmat team? When Toby's out of the room, she opens the lid to look inside and look sad. She then finds blood on the ground next to it. Ashley and Jason talk as she goes to leave. She says, if you don't want to work with your father anymore, you don't have to. You can't move forward if you're stuck in the past. He's like, great advice. They hug, and he's like, one more kiss, and kisses her. And she's like, no, this can't happen again. Emily comes into the brew, leaving Hannah a voicemail. She runs into the back to find Talia making apple pie filling. She gets Emily to help her out. Emily gets a text from Hannah telling her she went to the barrel, and Toby and Tanner showed up. The pan that Emily is cooking with catches on fire, and Talia swoops in to help and make her feel better. Fitz and Arya have dinner, and he gives her a gift for getting into college. It's a leather-bound journal with her initials engraved. Actually, it's very nice. He says, I don't want you to miss out on experiences in college like you did in high school. And Arya's like, I don't actually feel that way, like I wrote in the letter. And he's like, well, I can't believe that you would just write that stuff if you didn't actually feel it. If we stay together, you might grow to resent me. And if you take college for yourself, you'll have no regrets, and makes her promise to think about it. Hannah yells at Spencer for telling Toby about the storage unit. Spencer's like, I didn't tell him anything, and Holbrook recorded you and Caleb. Hannah then asks why Toby didn't give them a heads up, and Spencer tries to cover for him. Hannah asks when his job became more important than his friends, and Spencer's like, you didn't listen to your friends and screwed us all over going there. And Hannah's like, wow, okay, and storms off. Spencer then makes a call to Toby. At the station, Toby ignores the call as Tanner comes in. Tanner says, we knew one or more people helped Allison move Mona's body. If the blood comes back as hers, your friends are the first people I will bring in for questioning. You took an oath when you became a police officer, so if there's anything I should know, you should tell me.
Why? Okay, so like if Toby's gonna rat, I know we can. I didn't put this one in my questions, but like, why wouldn't he just tell them about A?
Yeah, why not? Why not go the whole 9 yards?
Yeah,
No one likes a fence sitter, Toby. Well, no one likes a cop either, but
yeah,
you know,
a lot of things wrong.
Yeah. Just these episodes is so frustrating. Emily finishes a call with Hannah as Talia comes out from the back of the brew. Emily says she's just been a bit off today, but doing all right. Talia asks if she needs some food and gives her a dish. Emily says, I can't imagine what you think of me since you got here. It's just been crazy, and my life normally isn't like this, which is a lie.
A lie. It's a bold-faced lie.
Talia says, it's okay. Remember the time I mentioned Fitz being cute? I was actually trying to figure out if you're into guys or girls, and I'm into you. So I'm just going to leave. And then awkwardly leaves. Hannah and Caleb think they were set up by Holbrook. Hannah's upset with herself for going to the storage unit and will cover for Caleb if things go south. And Caleb's like, what are you talking about? No. We go down together. And yeah, it's actually a pretty good line. It's like, if we get locked up, like, together, we might not be at the same facility.
Yeah. Well, but we'll go to jail together. And it's like, maybe not the same facility, but we'll go together.
Yeah, it's really good. Arya looks through her high school yearbook, and you mentioned the scene because everybody has clubs listed under their name. Then you get to Arya's, and she has nothing.
What was Hannah in, though?
I know. Why didn't she look at her friends?
Well, Spencer would have had 4 billion clubs.
That's true.
Emily would have had swimming.
Mm-hmm. And Hannah would be like, I didn't do anything, and that's fine with me.
Hannah joined yearbook for like a minute.
Oh, she was in the choir.
Oh, yeah. Weren't they all in the choir, though?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that choir. Ashley stares at the engagement ring with a glass of white wine. Spencer lies on her couch as Toby calls her back. She asks about the storage unit, and Toby says Tanner got an anonymous call that Mona's body was in there. Toby says, I couldn't give you a heads up with Tanner next to me in the car. Spencer asks, what was in the barrel? Toby's like, I can't talk about it, and I'll be working late and can't come over. And Spencer is upset by this and wants to see him because she's upset. And he says he'll call her later and hangs up. He climbs into the truck that Spencer got him. We see that all the evidence from the storage unit is located in a closet at the ice cream factory. A hooded figure approaches the door with a UV light and sees fingerprints all over the door, including the glass window, and then there's like just a full-on handprint. The end.
Okay. Will Ashley sleeping with Jason be revealed to Ted?
It has to be. Like, I don't know what else you're doing with this. There's so
Why
much...
are we given this plot? I remember being so mad about this. Like, in hindsight, I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember this because I erased it from my memory because I was like, oh god, it's like Sean. Who?
Right.
I'm like, Jason. Basically, if the Marin women are not with their main man, the memory don't stick. It's not there.
You know,
except for Travis, because he was nice, but he was not my type at all. And so I was like, he's not Hannah's type, because I don't know why I just decided that. He just wasn't the vibe.
They've done it a couple times where it's like, maybe there'll be someone different for Hannah to be interested in. And
they can't do it. They just have such good chemistry, and they play those characters so well, and they wrote them too well to be anything but a one true pair kind of situation.
And now that Caleb's back from Ravenswood, they're like, okay, we tried to put you on your own, but now we're going to put you in everything, which is so much better. Like, he's by far the best partner because he's involved in all the shenanigans. So he gets to go on all these these spy missions where they're breaking into places. All the B&E, I should say. And that's fun. But I don't know what we're doing with Ashley and Jason. Like,
Who would you pair Jason with instead?
Oh, Arya. I did.
Me too.
You know,
I like them together.
Exactly. And you might also be saying, but wait, isn't he the same age as Fitz?
But he's not her teacher.
Yeah, and I go, we've crossed the Rubicon. Like, this is what watching 5 seasons of the show has done.
It's like you kind of think back and you're like, maybe Ren wasn't so bad.
Until you get all the weird shit with like him and like Radley and whatever was going on with that.
We don't know still.
Right. As a doctor, you suck. But as a boyfriend, you're all right.
It's the opposite of the Into Center stage.
That's what I was doing.
That was beautiful.
So it's the two of them having like a dedicated storyline, it's just like, but they're not main characters, so why do I care?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Why is Ezra so cool and then like flips about the letter to Jackie?
It's so funny. He just like does a minute of like self-reflection and is like, oh, maybe well, okay, so there's multiple things going on here because one, yes, by having this relationship, she would have had like there was a thing that was driving a wedge between her and her friends and things like that. And he's like, oh shit, like I hadn't thought about it that way, that like maybe this inappropriate behavior that I was doing like might have negatively impacted my girlfriend. on the second hand, she did also have A.
Well, but also he was stalking her from the beginning.
right.
Like, so, okay, my issue with this is not, he's like, you know what? We've been through, like, at this point, you've already sunk the ship. Why would you try to get off?
Right.
Like, you've already ruined her life in multiple ways,
So
multiple
much.
times, and she keeps staying. And so,
Mhm.
like,
Maybe you should get over yourself at this point.
yeah. And then he tries to make it about her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Ezra, you got a girl on the side? What's going on?
Got a son on the side?
You talked to... Good God. Okay, one of
Or
my...
a book on the side?
Another one of my least favorite plot points. Ezra's plots are just like, you're just like, scenes from a hat kind of vibes.
Totally. It's so funny. And it's also really funny too when we get like kind of the reveal with Holbrook in the next episode. It's like, okay, he like, I'll get more on Holbrook, but like he's a bad person who is obviously interested in a younger girl. But then it's like, well, he's evil, but like Fitz feels remorseful. It's really funny. It's like there's shades to gray to all these men.
Oh my God.
It's baffling. You know what would be really funny? They won't do this for the show. But then Arya goes to college and is just like, I met someone else. You know? Like the classic thing of like where people
Do you
will go.
think Arya's gonna be with Fitz in college? Ooh, let's do this drill the couples. I had asked like who you thought would break up by the end of this season.
Right.
Like I was kind of like, you know, are Spencer and Toby gonna make it? Are Arya and Fitz gonna make it? Are Hannah and Caleb gonna be in jail together?
That would be fun if they are.
Holding hands through the bars?
Right, exactly.
You can't do that. They'd be in different
No, they
buildings.
both get led away. They both have their hands and they get taken away to be cuffed.
That'd be cute
Yeah.
romance. What is wrong with me?
That's what we're gonna do for our. Well, we already missed it. We already did our 1 year, but for our 2 year, that's what we'll do.
We'll go to jail?
Yeah.
No.
Just for a nice. That'll be the theme, maybe.
I think I'd like to pick something else to manifest into our life, like winning the lotto.
When's our orange anniversary?
Our jumpsuit anniversary.
Right.
I do love a good jumpsuit. Not an orange one though.
Yeah, you got me overalls for Christmas, and
Mhm.
I'm like, wow,
I know we should get matching overalls.
should get a jumpsuit
Should we
too.
get a pair for Hermie?
That'd be so cute.
He'd be so cute in a little jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway,
Okay.
back to the podcast.
Right, you had a question
I
about
asked-
who's gonna last.
Well, and who's going to make it through college? Even who's like when they're in college, who's going to date?
I could see them breaking up Arya and Fitz for them only like they were apart over the part we didn't see,
Mhm.
and then after the time jump they're together.
Okay.
But I imagine that Arya is still gonna like stick with Fitz and go to Hollis. That's where I think this is going with all this college business.
Okay. What about Spencer and Toby?
Oh no, they're so doomed.
I know.
They're so doomed.
It looks bad.
And honestly, like as a longtime Spoby fan,
no,
if-
they character assassinated Toby.
yeah, if they're still together, at the end of
Rewatching this, I'm still mad. I'm like, oh yeah, because I'd root for them, and then I was like, because I ended the show definitely being more of a Caleb girly, and not that I didn't always like them, but it was like I loved Spoby because they were nerds and they played their Scrabble, and then I
Mhm.
remember just like
and
I
there's the
I thought-
melodrama.
because you have to think like this was coming out in 2015 at this point, so I was graduating college, so I was like, oh, I must have just like outgrown the show. But no, it was because the show got bad. Like when it comes to this is what I
Yes,
mean by
right.
even before the end of the season, which people think is like when the show really like peaked. Like I think it started to get bad here in the interpersonal aspects
Yeah.
because the relationships got so repetitive of the break up, fight, get back together, break up, fight, get back together. And I
Yeah,
get it. It's
totally.
because they created those relationships too early. But like you could still like I love when Spencer and Toby are working. Like if Toby was on the inside and Spencer's on the outside and he has to in front of people act like they're not together. Like if they had to fake relationship it, that would, and he's trying to hide their relationship or that they like
Mhm.
and fake break up or something, that would be interesting.
And if okay,
Like them working together.
yeah, if they did do that,
I'm
and they
okay with
didn't
Arya
tell
and
the
Fitz
audience,
being over.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
if they did do that and didn't tell the audience,
That would be
that'll
interesting.
it will be interesting, but it would also be annoying because it'd be
Oh.
so much better with like
No, I was thinking like tell the audience, like
Yeah,
show the
exactly.
audience, like
Mhm.
have them fake breakup, and then because then the anxiety and the stress around it is them trying to sneak around to see each other,
Yeah.
like Romeo and Juliet.
And we love an undercover cop.
We do.
And he has to like sneak out files and stuff too without getting caught. But it doesn't seem like it's going that way.
No.
So if they're together at the end of the season and Toby is still a cop in the way that he is now, I will be pissed. But in different news, Caleb is like the long haul. Like you can't mess with that. Don't mess with success.
No, you don't want to mess with that.
Mm-mm.
Emily's got. I mean, Emily's
we
poor
don't know
thing.
Talia exactly. Oh, Talia seems nice, I guess.
What about? Okay, and you did Arya and Ezra,
right? You know, I don't know if Jason and Ashley are gonna work this one out. I can't imagine Talia's gonna be here forever because I imagine Emerson is gonna be the like endgame ship.
Get the goal.
Yeah.
A lot of people are big Emerson fans.
I don't see it yet.
I'm not. I mean, I feel very sad for Emily that it seems like the one positive relationship she had, Paige, they removed from the show. And I understand why they did.
And Maya.
And Maya.
And despite what I was saying around that time in the show, they really shouldn't have buried her.
No. You kept trying to accuse her of being A.
Yeah. I really should have just gone for the big bait when Mona fully pulls off the mask in that one episode.
Yeah. I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, they make this so much more obvious than I thought. And then I was like.
And then and you were also like, well, Mona's the A in the books. And I was like, well.
Would they keep that?
Yeah.
That was something they really played to their advantage.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny the ways that they continue to do that now, having read the books in just other ways.
Mm-hmm.
The Holbrook scene in the next episode is lifting from the books of that Allie told Ian to kiss Spencer.
Who took the laptop?
Well, A, of course.
Okay, but who's A? Who did the work?
Right, who was trying to kill them?
Uh-huh.
My money's still probably on Jenna and Team.
Okay. And Team is essential there because I was like, I don't think Jenna can pull this one off on her own.
Hey, you never know.
We don't know. You never know with Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah might just jump in front of her car.
Right. Oh, right. That's how she revealed that she wasn't blind.
Uh-huh.
Forgot.
That and when Arya goes, bitch can see.
Right. Hannah had so many good moments with Jenna. When she just winds up and hits her. Classic.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, but that's my best.
Who emptied the storage unit? Same? Different?
Same.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Wait, yes. I think they emptied the storage unit, and I can see that if Mona is still alive, she's the hoodie at the end of this.
Oh.
Or that was Holbrook's doing. Well, okay, maybe I'm of two minds because it could have been.
Holbrook could have also been lying to Hannah.
Yeah,
and that's in the next episode.
And he could still be building a case against like they thought. He could have still been building a case against them. Okay. I hadn't really thought about that. That could have just been exactly what they say. Because I'm always like, well, they're telling us something, but it's actually something else. When a lot of times, like their suspicion of Holbrook turns out to be true. Mm-hmm. So maybe take it at face value that Holbrook could have moved that over, and the A people were looking at the ice cream factory.
Why was the storage unit emptied then?
I'm assuming because they saw that they got in.
Okay.
They knew that they got in there. Or they heard about, actually, it would make more sense if that was Holbrook, because then Holbrook would have been in the loop on the anonymous tip that Tanner gets to go search the storage units, and then they empty it out before Tanner and Toby get there.
Okay.
Which I'm assuming the anonymous tip could have been, if Mona's still alive, which we like to believe, from Mona.
Now hold on hope, baby.
That's right. It'd be really funny if it I'm always saying they should do this because it tickles me pink in Twin Peaks, where they just introduce a
Like Mona's got the twin twist, where it's like a twin or a matching cousin or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so good because they're like, well, crap, we shouldn't have killed this person.
Is it Mona's body in the barrel?
No. They also go, we don't know whether it's human or not. So.
Which means it probably went sludge route, huh?
Exactly. It could be Tippy.
I didn't even think of Tippy.
Keep wondering about like Allison's pet.
I don't remember what's in the barrel, or
if it's oh, you don't. Okay.
Like I'm trying to remember when it comes out. Like,
it's gotta be soon.
Yeah, and like so many things happened that like that was so low on my list of like, how do we acquire this particular, body or thing or evidence or whatever it may be. I don't remember anymore because it just gets really messy. It's really messy right now.
Yes, it is. Which is so hard for me to be like, they team it.
No, you have no idea because at this point, maybe the writers know, maybe some of the writers know. I don't know if they all know the same things.
God, you would have to think, excuse me, that because they have the rest of the seasons, that it's like, well, they must have planned it out, which is really funny. They might not have, but that's just the way we like to think, and I think a lot of that precedent comes from Lost and understanding that people were upset with the way things like rolled out there. So like that show Yellow Jackets, like one of the big things that the writers and the creators were talking about up front were like, yeah, we have a detailed plan for the 5 seasons we want to do. So which is like almost like trying to be like, it's going to be, well, like, you'll have resolution.
You start a book series with an outline.
Right.
Was the drop of blood intentionally left by A?
Does seem that way. I don't think Allison is actually moving it.
No, she's in jail.
I meant moved it there.
Oh, because...
How's she getting out? She's just getting threats in jail too and getting beat up.
How'd they get her blood then?
It was before Thanksgiving that the storage unit was rented out. She is still around. Yeah, it's curious. What was she doing that night? I'm trying to remember. Oh, she got a tip from what's his face? Cyrus had reached out, and she went to go like find him. Supposedly.
Yeah, that's what she tells us.
Yeah, she could have actually been there, but yeah, maybe she got in a scuffle.
Who filmed Hannah and Caleb?
Oh wait, it could also be Cece. It could also be A. So, go for it.
Who filmed Hannah and Caleb?
It seems like it's coming off her laptop. So it seems like someone hacked in.
Yeah, but who? Yeah, because then Caleb protects them. And he's like, oh, wait, I put something, so no one can get hacked anymore.
Oh, is that what he says?
Yeah, he did some sort of thing so that no one can like remotely hack
their get into their computer
and their cameras. Yeah,
I love it. I love this like techno mumbo jumbo. Wave your wand.
That's when I started going, I wonder how much of this is fake.
Was it Arthur C. Clarke? I don't know if it's who said the quote, but the like any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Mm-hmm. That's Caleb.
He's our magician.
Not Techno Boy Toy. You had it all wrong. He's doing close up. God, what was the question?
Who hacked in? This is like when you do a job interview and like as an interviewer, like I ask a question and then the person starts talking about something and I'm like, I don't know how the fuck we got here.
What are you talking about? Boy, anybody.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
We'll go with Jenna or CC team.
Is A actually trying to kill them?
It really fucking seems like it.
That's what I started to question. Like, there's a certain point in the show where it turns, and it's a little bit before this, where you go, A doesn't, like, when it stops being Mona, A is like, oopsie? Like, is that really the game?
It does seem like A is actually actively trying to kill them.
Keep that in mind then for the reveal, and, like, how do you think that makes sense, or doesn't make sense, or is A just, like, playing fast and loose? Because, like, from what I remember, like, A's, like, vision, goal, motivation, whatever, I don't necessarily know how much that aligns with like not having them alive.
I knew you would get out of the kiln and the freezer.
Get you out eventually.
Right. Emily was there with a giant wrench.
Emily gets electrocuted and keeps going.
Yes. Superwoman.
Could anyone actually survive what Arya and Spencer went through?
I don't think
Without
so.
frostbite?
Yeah, that's because it's I don't
Frostbite.
Yeah,
right?
It seemed really bad. Yeah, and like even when it turns off, the liquid nitrogen's still there, like freezing them.
The hardening freezer at the ice cream place I worked at, I don't know if it. I don't think it blew. I mean, maybe it did do that. I don't think it did stuff like that. It was just like a really, really cold.
Is it like
freezer.
-30 or something?
I don't know, but if you went in there, you had to, because if the power went out, we'd move all of the ice cream into that freezer because then it wouldn't melt. You know what I mean? It'd stay cold. And so when the power went out, I was always chosen to be the person that stood in there and held the flashlight because I couldn't, like, I could carry the 3 gallons, but like I was working with people who were like 6 foot and like,
Right.
you know, big guys.
I'll hold the flashlight.
And so, no, I was assigned the flashlight.
Oh, okay.
And so we had these jackets and gloves on the outside that you had to put on before you went in just because it was really cold. But it wasn't like so cold that you would die. You know what I mean? Like it was cold, but.
Just to be able to like move things around in there though.
But because I was usually wearing shorts, like I'd have to put on 2 jackets and then stand there in gloves with the flashlight in the dark. And I was always so afraid they were going to lock me in there to fuck with me because they would do shit like that to me. And I was like, would I die? How long?
It definitely this seems like it would have.
But I don't think ours sprayed out
liquid nitrogen. Probably
no,
not. It was probably just
the,
really cold.
The building was built in 1929. Yeah. I don't think that was in the I mean, I don't know. I don't know how
the ice cream factory.
I mean, it was. They made the ice cream there.
Oh.
Yeah, they made it in the back.
Well, never
so
mind.
it was like where we kept. Yeah, it was they called it the hardening freezer because it was where you put the ice cream after it was made to get hard. I don't know how cold. Like I didn't read I was just standing there with my little flashlight in my multiple jackets.
Mm-hmm.
My gloves. Well, they were like thick, like kind of thin but thick jackets. Yeah, and sometimes I'd sit on like a crate of like half gallons, like empty crates, and just like wrapped in blanket or in jackets with my little flashlight.
Sounds like a nice day of work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess it was better. I'd prefer to have been serving customers sitting in a dark freezer.
Right. That's fair.
It's a little scary. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I was like, I don't know. I never worked in a fancy like it was an old place, you know. Okay.
Yeah, this one seems like it was made after 1950.
It was definitely fancy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At one point. Rosewood's really gone downhill. This was an ice cream town.
Why are there leaves inside this ice cream building?
It is. They're just like, well, I guess there's a lot of trees around.
There's just leaves everywhere.
Because
there's leaves in Emily's hair. Like there's leaves everywhere, and I'm like,
they're always in the woods and always leaves.
Also, Emily gets electrocuted and then goes back to work to lock up.
All in a day's work.
Very responsible girly.
Absolutely. No, she's whacking things with that wrench too.
Yeah. We also have Ezra's whole "should we break up now that it's legal to be together?" Like that part really got me good. That got me good.
Right. Now that everything's behind us.
Will Hannah and Caleb get caught about the storage unit? Are they going to wear their matching little orange jumpsuits together?
I don't know if it's going to be about the storage unit, but I feel like we're heading toward them getting at least like picked up at some point. Maybe it is about the storage unit, but we'll see.
I will say also,
I guess are their hands all over their prints all over the barrel?
Not all over the barrel that we know of, but their prints are all over the walls. So now A can just lift them.
Right.
Which brings me to another point. Why are these girls not wearing gloves all the time?
You should be wearing gloves everywhere.
Everywhere. Like, make them cute. Do like, you know, like pretend you're like royal. Like you have your cute little...
Yeah.
Glove.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, make it cute. Make a fashion statement.
Right.
You would think Arya, of all people, could really pull that off. Like some sort of glove.
Absolutely.
Also, we have Spencer just constantly dealing with incompetence in this episode. I really was. It's like, Hannah, why didn't your cop boyfriend help us, even though I was doing something dumb and my boyfriend agreed to help me? And then Spencer's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just
because he's also incompetent. And I'm
Right.
just like,
you shouldn't have gone there, but also he shouldn't be a cop.
yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Spencer finally coming to grips with it at the beginning of next episode too, but it's just like oof,
It is.
stuck in the middle. How dare Toby put her in that position?
I hate it.
I do too.
I'm mad.
Me too.
That's it for this episode.
Cool. All right. Season 5, Episode 18, Episode 113. Oh, what hard luck stories they all hand me. Arya, Spencer, and Emily catch up, and Spencer says Toby won't tell her about what's in the barrel, and there's him being a cop is driving a wedge between them. They see Veronica outside the police department. It's a Saturday. Isn't that interesting? Apparently, she's consulting with Allie's defense team to know information essentially about what's going on, like who will be called to testify. Spencer goes to talk to Hannah and apologize. Arya asks if Fitz is in the brew to Emily, and Emily's like, no, he's apparently off in Harrisburg. Didn't he tell you? And Arya's like, oh, he did. And Emily's like, he did not tell you. Spencer approaches Hannah, and Hannah says, you were right, Spencer. It was a bad idea for me to go there, and I panicked, and like every water under the bridge. We're all good. They come back to Arya and Emily as they see Holbrook return. The friends think Holbrook is out in the open again to scare them. Spencer then sees Johnny at the brew, who, Johnny who lives in her barn. And he's working on a piece for the brew. He asks for her to help him build it. She's like, no, I'm way too busy. Emily goes to talk to Talia in the back, and it's just very awkward. Police called Caleb, apparently, and they want to interview him about the storage unit. Spencer and Arya tell Hannah that cops are trying to make her nervous. Emily helps a redhead named Leslie at the brew who's looking for Hannah. Mrs. Vanderwalt said she can find her here and that she was a friend of Mona's. She then talks to the other all four friends, and says she was supposed to see her at Thanksgiving. She and Mona met a couple summers ago and is here in town to help give Mona's mom support. She thanks the friends for being there to support Mrs. Vanderwalt. Spencer wants Hannah to go see Mona's mom to figure out what the hell is going on with this new person. Hannah is at the police station, and she's like, Spencer, I'm a little busy. And Spencer's like, no, just go there. Like, you'll be all right. Spencer calls out to her mom, like, because she sees her briefcase on the counter and doesn't get an answer. So then starts looking through the files. And and there's a bunch of files related to Mona's death and a sign-in sheet for the correctional facility where Allie is at, and includes one Mike Montgomery on there. Spencer covers her tracks as Veronica comes in. They talk about Holbrook being back from special assignment. Veronica found the letters that Spencer was hiding from the schools that she got in that were far away from there, and that Veronica didn't know about. Spencer's like, maybe I'm not going to go to college. And Veronica's like, no, that's not an option. You have to. I'm doing everything I can to keep you on course and out of Allie's trial. College is part of that. You hear me? Hannah and Caleb are at the police station. Hannah wonders if the cops got a hold of the video of Hannah and Caleb. And she's like, this was all set up going to the ice cream factory. Got a hold of the video of Hannah and Caleb. Caleb says, we'll handle it, whatever comes up. They hear Holbrook yell as he starts packing his desk angrily and leaves. He walks past Caleb and Hannah, and he's like, perfect, just perfect. Arya and Spencer catch up, and she shows her the sign-in sheet that Mike is on. Arya's like, Mike must have had a good reason for going. And Spencer's like, well, you have to find out. Hannah tells Emily that Holbrook was suspended for inappropriate behavior. He messed with the lie detector test, so they were right about that one. Hannah thinks Holbrook blames them for getting in trouble. Mike watches a black and white movie, which I looked up, and is a movie called Them from 1954, which is about atomic tests happening in New Mexico that causes ants to mutate into giant monsters.
So Mona was really into the atomic bomb.
I know. Oh, yeah, she was. I forgot. She's like, that Oppenheimer, so dreamy.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that has to do with something. They're trying to tell us something. I don't know what.
Maybe it's that there's a bomb that's going to go off.
It all comes down to this.
I don't remember there being big explosions.
I'm just imagining, that's like the promo for that episode coming up. This episode of Pretty Little Liars, the bomb finally goes off. And it's like the four friends, like, how do we defuse it? Just imagining they open up a door. There's a bomb waiting inside. Like
they would walk in too because they're so dumb.
What is that? A clock ticking?
These girlies are like curiosity killed the cat, like just 100%. You're just like, there are so many times when you could have just walked away.
I know. Hannah, can you close that heavy door behind us?
Is there a lock on the outside? Perfect.
Right. And so Arya doesn't. This is apparently this movie was on a list that Mona wanted to show Mike, and Arya then leaves him be since he's so sad. Hannah and Leslie.
Sad boy hour.
Very much so. Hannah and Leslie are at Mona's house. Hannah
what do you think his current iPod playlist sounds like when he's in his sad boy era?
Oh, this is like 2007?
No, this is 2015.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm thinking of, this is 2014. I was thinking of like Veronica Mars. God, the shows that we haven't covered in years.
It was like, no.
Not at all. Okay, what? 2014? Man, what is the sad boy music of 2014? I don't know. I was listening to like dance music.
You were.
So I'm out. I have no idea what the sad boy music would be during this time.
I don't either.
You think it was closer around this time?
In a couple years, I think.
Okay. Too early.
Maybe some like Porter Robinson.
Oh, right. Listening to M83. It's all a little bit too upbeat.
Artie. Isn't it Artie? Is that one of them that you liked?
Yeah. But he's like, like, I think he's making like trance.
You don't think the boys were sad at the trans shows?
That's true. That's a little different. That's like crying and hugging and holding up the hands, and it's like, we're going to be best friends forever.
That's fair.
There's this post that goes around that I see people this become a meme at this point, and it's like some guy like posting, it's like, took my girl to like a rave for the first time, and we were in the crowd and she's crying and she was just like, and I think it's like something like welcome to my world or something.
My God.
It's great.
Yeah, so this was already in 2015 because this is the second half of the season.
Oh, okay, got it. I don't know still.
Yeah, I don't either. That's okay. I was just curious.
Blind spot. Yeah.
If you had like a sad boy playlist of that time.
I can't put it together.
That's okay.
Just going dancing.
You weren't listening to your Taylor Swift crying,
No, he could be listening to Taylor Swift, but
So
that would be
Red in 1989. You listen to Red.
Yeah, okay.
There's not a lot of 1989 that's sad boy hours.
No.
She saved that for the bonus tracks.
We were gonna go to New York.
We did go to New York.
Interesting. What are you doing in New York? Hannah and Leslie are at Mona's house, and Hannah tells Leslie that her relationship with Mona.
We are a mess this episode.
Welcome to the new year.
Going out with a bang.
That's right. Hannah tells Leslie that her relationship with Mona was complicated. Leslie's like, you and your friends were precious to her, though. Leslie says that, she's like, I like that Mona was always thinking and had all these different sides to her. And then Hannah has a flashback to Mona reading from a collection of Edgar Allan Poe. Mona asks if Hannah had 3 wishes, what would they be? Hannah's like, I don't know. What would yours be? And Mona's like, I want a stopwatch that stops time so that I can like run around and like control people without them knowing. In the like,
I forgot about this, but I think about this answer all the time because I'm like, that's like, I mean, it's creepy as hell. Like it's a good insight to her, but it's also you're like, oh, Mona's a thinker.
Absolutely. She's like, yeah, I could get away with whatever I
and
wanted.
I'm not gonna age.
Right. That's what that comes up in the flashback a little bit later, where it's just like, well, everybody else's problem.
Yeah.
Part of my other wishes. Emily's in the back storage room as Talia comes in and ties Emily's apron around her waist and then leaves.
Made me think of the scene in the 6th Harry Potter, I think it is, when Ginny ties Harry's shoelace in the movie.
Right.
Because it's not in the books. The books, Ginny is a completely different character. She's like effervescent and fun and chaotic, and then she's like, your shoe's untied. I shall
like,
romantically tie it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This is happening, isn't it?
I was like, is something else going to happen?
At least with this one, it's like, it is very, it's like around the waist, but also she hasn't given you an answer yet.
Yeah, and it's funny because the way they do it, because obviously, like, there's a non-sexual way to tie someone's apron.
It's very like, oh, let me reach around the front for you. Johnny works on his project as Mike comes over and he's like, what is this doing? And then Johnny gives him a cryptic answer. Mike then sees Leslie and Hannah come in and notices that they have the collection of Edgar Allan Poe. He gets mad that Leslie took it. Hannah tells him it's okay, Mike. We'll put it back and I'll make sure it goes back to where it belongs. He then storms out all angry, and Hannah notices that Leslie is shaken. Leslie talked to Mona the night before she died over the phone and heard Mike on the other end angry.
Dun, dun, dun.
Caleb is studying in the park outside the police station as Emily comes over to talk. Emily looks at Talia across the way, and Caleb's like, "What's about that? What's about that? What's going on?" And Emily is upset that in the middle of the trial, there's like this normal thing that she like can't figure out with Talia. Hannah and Arya talk about Mike, and Hannah tells Arya about the blow up at the brew, and Arya tells Hannah about the prison visit, and Hannah's like, "Wait, what?" And it's like, you have to find out why he went. Johnny continues to assemble his piece, and Spencer grills him about what he's working on. He's like, "You can figure it out. You're smart." And she's like, "I don't want to figure it out. I want to know." And he's
Me
like,
too, Spencer.
and he's like, "What you said there was very revealing." Spencer notices that he wrote his notes on the back of a missing poster of Allison, and he's like, "Oh, I found this in the barn." They discuss her presence in the town, and Johnny wonders how she went from missing to being in jail for murder. Spencer's like, "Weird shit happens." Leslie talks with Hannah and doesn't want to get Mike into any more trouble, and Hannah's like, "It's okay, it'll be all right." And Hannah then has a flashback to the same sleepover and asks Mona about the stopwatch and that wouldn't she get older while the others don't. And Mona's like, "I would fix that. Everybody else would get older, but I wouldn't." Hannah wonders if they'd recognize Allison as she came back, and Mona's like, "She wouldn't recognize us. She would come back and get thrown into Radley, and no one would ever leave there like they always say in the stories." And Hannah's like, "Don't talk about that." And Mona's like, "It's just a story. Don't worry about it." Back in the present, Hannah shakes the Poe book and finds a secret compartment hidden in the spine of the book. She then finds a cassette tape inside there, and Hannah leaves Mona's house as a car goes to follow her. Arya sees Mike leaving his room and goes to follow. Johnny finishes his machine, and Spencer tests it out. Turns out that he can speak into a microphone. It's like a microphone at the other side of a room, like underneath a little plastic dome thing. And then if she rests her elbows into the table, into these like specific metal points, she can cup her hands to her ears and like hear him through the microphone. It's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
He got inspired since the whole town is strung up by whispers.
Secrets and whispers.
Mm-hmm. Hannah and Caleb listen to the tape. It's a recording of Bethany with a counselor calling someone evil and a bitch and that they're manipulative. And it's like, she's not the only one who can make plans. Hannah thinks it's about Allison. Mike is out late as he drops something on the dock. Arya goes to see, and it turns out it's a bag of sour gummies. She turns around and finds him staring at her. Mike says visiting Allison was none of your business, and Arya says Allison's dangerous. Mike says no one is giving orders to me anymore. Arya asks how many times he's been out there, and who are these candies for? And then Mike says, "Be careful going through the woods at night," and leaves. I totally thought like he had set her up and just set the bag of gummies there, but like it seems like the bag of gummies have some sort of significance. You know what I mean? Like he was just like, "I know you're following me, so I just like I'm not going to make the actual drop." But I digress. Spencer comes home to Veronica working in the kitchen. Veronica's like, talks about Johnny and is like, I feel bad about like having that kid here because he's squandering his potential. And Spencer sticks up for him. Spencer's like, "Oh, are you getting your funny ideas about college because of talking to that artist in the back?" Spencer's like, "I'm just thinking things over." And like, "Mom, do you remember what it's like to not know what you want to do with your life, like when you're young?" And Veronica's like, "Okay, yes." And she's like, "Well, give me time to figure it out." Veronica then gets a call. Turns out there was a leak from the prosecutor's office, and turns out the blood sample that was found in the storage unit was Allison's. Hannah gets pulled over by a cop, and she turns around. Holbrook, so dramatic. Turns around and sees that the cop car is empty. She then grabs a tire iron and goes to look. Holbrook then appears and grabs her arm, and he's like, "How does a girl like Allison become a girl like Allison?" He's like, "I don't have a career anymore because of her." Hannah says, "You could have said no. You didn't have to do her dirty work and try to kill my friends." He's like, "You've got the wrong guy. I spent the last few weeks locked up with people from internal affairs. Ask Tanner. She knows everything." He says she cut me off and then asks if Allison told her to kiss him. "Oh, she totally did, didn't she?" And Hannah hits his hand with a tire iron and says, "If Allison did cut you off, you don't know how lucky you are," and leaves.
Amen, sister.
Fuck yeah.
Love it.
Emily sees Talia looking at Johnny's machine at the brew, and Emily's like, I'll show you how it works. And goes into the microphone and is just like, I'm going to use this as a confession. The night you told me you were interested, I couldn't decide right then. And then she walks up to her, and she's like, I know what it's like being lonely. And then Emily walks up to her, and Talia admits she doesn't have much confidence, and Emily kisses her. Hannah tells Spencer and Arya about Holbrook. About Holbrook that was helping Allison. Hannah and Spencer wonder if someone else is helping Allison and if it's Mike. Arya says it's not him and he's not going to visit her ever again because I told him so. Even though he was like, no one gives me orders anymore. But they weren't there, so they don't know. They think that Bethany's tape means that the backyard, that like the night of Allison's disappearance, the backyard was a trap for someone, and they wonder who the trap was for. We see Mike visiting Allison again. Shocker. A hooded figure visits Mona's room, grabs the Poe book, but finds the tape gone and is angry.
Okay. Who's Leslie? Is she sus?
Absolutely. I don't... Leslie is extremely sus. I don't think she's friends with Mona.
Oh.
But it's very funny that it gets pulled in. There's like this, just the show. It's like, here's a new person.
Wouldn't you think Mrs. Vanderwall would be like, who is this person in my house?
Oh, you're totally right. She's like, oh, yes, Leslie, thank you for coming. Unless Mrs. Vanderwall was like, oh, like, she didn't really mention you, but, like, so glad. Thank you for coming. But maybe my gut more is, like, she is not there as a emissary or friend of Mona at this point.
Mm.
She might have, like, known Mona, and I wonder if they got up to spy shit together. But Leslie is sus. And Talia is also sus. The people that we don't know about, you can't watch the show and not be suspicious.
Spencer's housemate.
Johnny?
Yeah. He says the same thing Holbrook does.
Yeah. Oh, that the whole town's held up by whispers?
No. That how does a girl like that become like, because he says that about the poster. He's like, how do you think she became like that, basically?
I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny's gone in a couple episodes. He seems extremely insular to me.
Oh, yeah. I think he's a plot.
Where everybody else, the reason suspicious of Talia and Leslie is because they are embedded in the plot. And then Johnny is on the side making art pieces.
Giving Spencer ideas.
Yeah. Funny ideas about college.
Why was/is Mike visiting Allie?
So I literally parroted Arya at first of just like, well, like, he, as far as we know, like, she killed his girlfriend that he seems very upset about. But now I wonder if he's trying to figure out things like what happened with Mona through Allison. He's like, I don't believe what happened here, and I want to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
And I wonder if like the sour gummies thing is like him and Mona used to like go there, like hang out, and they would like eat sour gummies or something, whatever their snack was, and that's where he was like, if you're still alive, I'm gonna leave this here for you, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to try and figure out if you're still out there because I don't believe you're dead.
That's what I was gonna ask, why he was leaving for, but
that's what I think. But yeah, I extremely thought at first that it was a setup for Arya, and then Arya's like, "What are the gummies for? Are you on the weed gummies?"
Who was giving Mike instructions before? He said, I don't take instructions anymore.
Yeah, I'm not getting orders anymore.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Mona. Like, maybe it was, like, working with Mona on stuff. I could see, like, him being, like, eventually at a certain point when they, like, got back together, it's like, well, no more lies. I want to be in on your shit.
There you go.
And now that she's gone, no one's leading him anymore.
I made a note, too, that he talks about in the beginning of the episode, Mona remembering every movie she saw and, like, every detail. And I'm like, meanwhile, I forgot about Sean. I'm like, he'll be gone soon. He'll be gone soon.
You're like, Jesus Christ, we're like, episode 12, this boy's still around.
Did Holbrook actually tamper with the lie detector test? Or was Allie just that good?
I think he actually did. Because now that we have a confirmation that he was actually working for her, I think he did. And also that there's so much reveal here of like, yeah, that he's like an evil predator that got like the script flipped. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You almost like you want to commend Allie for when she does that. You're like, damn, absolutely. Girl, she did it to Ian. She did it to him.
Mm-hmm. Because then also the way that he goes, Allison told you to kiss me, didn't she? Which means that there was some sort of reaction in him from Hannah kissing him. So then you're like, oh, yeah. So then even more commendable for Allison for like completely burning this dude.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is Talia?
She knows Fitz, so I assumed they were the same age.
Okay.
I don't know where else you would, because they say, I think it was college, right? That they met. I think that was like the explanation. So I assume similar sort of thing. But yeah, very funny. So she's just working there full time now as the chef.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know anything else about her.
Why?
And then Emily's like, well, you know, I'll give it a shot. I'll open myself up now that Paige is exiled.
Why is Mike so weird about Leslie having Mona's book?
I'm assuming he knew what was in there.
Okay.
That he knew about the secret compartment.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then do you think he's the person at the end of the episode in the black hoodie?
Oh, trying to get the tape?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I think that could be it. Also, you know, he gets very like frustrated.
Who was Bethany talking about on the cassette?
I was wondering if it's okay. So our obvious thing to point to is Allison.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm almost wondering if it was Jessica. Yeah, that she's trying to make her do things because she was so resistant to at least that we know that she was so resistant to Mrs. De Laurentiis, and the way she like drew Mrs. De Laurentiis as like a monster on the other side of the thing, and you know was always trying to like, you call me your, but was it call me your aunt
Jessie or something like that.
Yeah, and just like trying to like ingratiate in her life, and like it seemed like Bethany did not want that at all. So it makes you think.
Why did Holbrook pull over Hannah? Just to have this conversation?
I guess so. I don't know what he was planning on doing. Because he's just trying to frighten her, I think, maybe? Because he's following after her. And I assumed that whoever was following her was going to try and like take the tape or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just like, tries to shake her. And then she brings her tire iron. Smacks him.
Will Allie be convicted of Mona's murder?
I don't think that's going to happen. There's going to be like some last minute evidence reveal. It's going to look like she's going to get convicted. And then it's going to be like, wait, we found out that Allison couldn't have been there. Or maybe they spring her from jail. I don't know. That'd be fun. A jailbreak. They don't look in her holding cell, but she has a poster up. And every time that people aren't looking there, she's like digging a little hole.
Oh my God. Those are my questions for you in this episode.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this episode?
I don't think I have anything else. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think they're just regular gummies, or are they weed gummies of Michelangelo's? Now that you brought it up.
I think they're just regular gummies, but I do find it really funny.
Why are they
it's
in a
like,
Ziploc baggie? Because they didn't want to pay, or they didn't want to do free advertising?
I guess so. They probably didn't have some sort of product placement.
They're like, sorry, Sour Patch did not send them to us for free. We bought these all on our own.
Like you pothead.
All right. Theory corner?
Yeah. Let us do it.
Let us do it?
Let us do it.
Let us pray.
Amen. Theory Corner. Welcome to Theory Corner, everybody. You know, more uncomfortable now that, you know, Toby's a cop. But
yeah,
right.
You shouldn't have picked a station.
No,
we need just like inside a home office. You can change it.
Mm-hmm. So I
like a PI office.
Yeah, I gotta go back to it. Gotta go back to the old one.
Or just find a new one.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Change venue.
Carry on.
New year, new venue. Oh God, lost train of thought.
Who's that?
My bet would be Jenna at this point.
Okay.
But also it could be Cece.
Okay.
Since Cece is now back and around and like doing things and seemingly got back in the country. So
Cece does what she wants.
Yeah, but I would think that out of everybody that looks suspicious going on now, I would think it would probably be Jenna. That has at least the most to kind of like hate them for too, I think is the other piece here. So I don't. It's really hard to try and figure out why and what's going on. I think maybe just trying to get to Allison burned and like thrown away in jail, and maybe all the rest of them. And I don't know if, because maybe once Allison's convicted in a way, like, will everything kind of stop? I do wonder if that's how it would go. That once this is finally done, they can like just try and bury all the evidence and get out of there. But I do think Allison, we know that Allison is also running her own games to try and save her hide, and I think that's where Holbrook comes in. I think that's where Noel comes in. We don't know if Noel also could be a double agent, since it seemed like he was being blackmailed. I think there could be a number of people that were being blackmailed by Allison that are also trying to figure out how to get out from under her, and that could be through the A-team.
Ooh.
So that one way that could resolve. But I don't know if I have much else to really go on right now. I think we get some good information, and we've kind of talked about some other theories of like that Mike is, I think he's on his own trying to figure out by going to Allison what happened to Mona, and he doesn't believe that Mona's gone. And I think there could be a contingent of Mona. I get, I go back and forth of like someone set up Mona to help get her out, or like there was actually like malicious harm done and they're making Mona do things for them. I could see that happening, that the A-team like essentially captured Mona and are making her be their Caleb against her will. Yeah.
Hack, Cody code.
That's right. I mean, you need to fight fire with fire when you got a Cody Coder on their side.
Wouldn't you think that she would have sent some sort of message over to Caleb though, at some way, shape, or form?
I think maybe by trying to get the friends to follow along on these things, like she could have activated her GPS on the laptop. Like those types of things, I think could be helping point, like steer the friends.
I see.
And since if she's being held against her will, can probably only get so many things out that would go under the radar.
True. All right.
Yeah, I mean, these episodes are a lot of setup, and like we get like some interesting wrinkles, but it's much more character moments than anything big reveals happening, because we don't know what's in the barrel. But
right,
I really don't know what's in that barrel. I don't know. I have such a hard time trying to picture what it would be. I don't know. But, Theory Corner should hopefully be, much more exciting in the coming weeks. But for now, we'll bid you adieu.
Goodbye. This is being Herman.
You can't see him, but when he sleeps, he'll get his tongue stuck.
Little tongue out. A cute little guy. All right, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's do it. You can find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find us on YouTube at dead_ends for the video version. Like, comment, subscribe, give us those nice reviews. We love those reviews. Help us out. We're small, humble little podcast, and any good positive word of mouth helps a lot.
Yeah.
And you can also write in emails at deadendspcast@gmail.com, or just leave comments on YouTube. Talk to us. It's cool there. Ask questions if you want to, and yeah. Oh, on a separate note too, the outside of plugs, thinking about it, I was like, oh, I think this was around the time without the strike that we would be wrapping up this show.
The show?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think the main show.
Are you sure? I think because we'd
No.
taken a big break at some point too. Didn't we take a big break at some point?
It was in August.
Okay.
That we stopped for the strike, and then we picked back up at the end of August. So if we had continued doing weekly, that was many weeks. You could see me swerving away from doing math.
He was like, oh, he opened a calendar. He's about to do math. He was not about to do math. Okay, fine. I'm too lazy to argue this point. I believe you.
Okay, let's see.
No, you don't have to. I believe you.
1.
Everyone's going to really love watching you count. When did we come back?
So 22 weeks with
That
2
would've gotten
episodes
us-
each. That would have been
Okay.
44 episodes.
44
so
episodes.
yeah, you're maybe not the end.
I don't think we would have been done yet.
Mm-mm. Pretty close.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, we would have been further, but
I think I'm actually getting confused with our original timeline.
yeah, and that was before we took a break, and we also had.
Yeah, we haven't done it yet. This is complete. Never mind, that's not helping me. All right, well,
Regardless,
here
we are.
Yep. And we're still here. And we're gonna find out everything.
I love you. Bye.